Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Atman Shri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is September the 21st, 2018, Friday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Tulsi Ramayana. This is series 2016, class number 123. And now, Atman Shri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Nilambuja Shyamal Komalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panavung Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Erudations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Shri Ramcharitmanas, Tulsi Ramayana, Baal Kanda, verse number 310. Good news. Rama is going to marry Sita. And still more news. Lakshmana will be marrying Urmila. Bharata will be marrying Shrutikirti, rather Mandavi. And Shatrughna will marry Shrutikirti. All those details we will touch upon later. Presently, Janakpur is thrilled by the presence of Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna, because all the marriage party has come. Their father is also there, the King Dasharatha. Barahi barasa neha bas, Janak bola ubasivya, Lena aihi bandhu dou, Koti kama kamaniya. And the people in Janakpur, they are talking with themselves that how fortunate are we that King Janaka will invite Sita again and again. Sita is his daughter. And these two brothers, Rama and Lakshmana, they will come again and again to take Sita away. And how are those brothers, Rama and Lakshmana? Koti kama kamaniya. Their joyous personality is bringing out a kind of beauty that will not match up even with millions of Cupid gods, that excels millions of Cupid gods. Subtle point you have to understand that Ramayana has been written to lead your mind to enjoy the taste of spiritual progress in different stages. But first, Ramayana is luring you to a history. That's the way it was once upon a time. But listen and don't let it be once upon a time. It's right at this time. The bhavana shuddhi occurs. If your subtle vasanas become purified, Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani. You don't look for God in distant temples. The entire world is filled with Rama. If you want more, Sita also. If you want more, all gods, wherever Rama is. Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani. So that's the climax of Shubha Bhavana, pure feeling of the heart. And if climax has reached, then you have climax has reached also of your repeated birth and death. This will be your final. And that state of purity of feeling is being described in an allegorical way, mystical way, by giving you a historical event long ago, how it happened, and how did the people feel. विविध बाही भांति हो यहीं पहुनाई, प्रिय न काही अस सासुर माई. And each time Sita will come, and there will be expressions of numerous types of pahunai, hospitality. Each setting will be little different, you see. Each Christmas is different. And you wait for how the next one. This time Sita has come, how things are. Now next time. So that type of feeling. Subtle message. Go deep and profound with your sadhana. And then what will happen? The world will not be a hospital, but it will be full of hospitality. Figure that out. The world is a kind of a hospital. Everyone comes into the world led by karma, and the world provides treatment. That world experience is based on bhava vyadhi, the disease of the world process. The cure for bhava vyadhi is, if you were to develop joy of friendliness with all, matri bhavana. Of course, the climax is Rama bhavana. God is everywhere. But before you reach that level, you start building up that type of a heart that doesn't hold grudge against anybody. It's a heart that is ready to forgive, to understand even the enemy that comes towards you and he's limping. Understand the pain. I'm joking. The profounder way to view your relatives, people around you, as well as even your enemies. जो तो को कांटा बुए ताही बोई तू फूल. People who are sowing thorns for you, if you have friendly attitude, you lovingly sow flowers for them as a revenge. And it works wonders. So, coming back to the story, तब राम लखन ही निहारी, हुई हहीं सब पुर लोक सुखारी. Again and again they will come. And all of us, people in Janakpur, they are saying, we'll see Rama and Lakshmana again and again. And that joyous upcoming news is there. सखी जस राम लखन कर जोटा, तैसे ही भूप संग दुई ढोटा. The one friend says, listen, it's not enough. Ram Lakshmana, there is another set has come. Bharata and Shatrughna. And they are exactly like Rama and Lakshmana in their appearance. Rama and Bharata both are blue complexioned. Lakshmana and Shatrughna, they are snowy white complexion. The mystical meaning behind it. Rama relates to Gyan. Gyan is intuitive knowledge that leads the soul to liberation. Gyan. And that Gyan can be compared to blue complexioned sky. Akasha is the name for the absolute. Bhutakash, Chittakash, Chidakash. Similarly, Bharata's movement is to melt in God. And that God is blue complexion. Allegorically, blue is infinity, eternity. Lakshmana acts, he represents dhyana, meditative process. Meditative process prepares the pathway to Rama, removes impurities of the mind, mental distractions and subtle obstacles. So Lakshmana does cleansing work. And how do you know a cloth is very clean? Snowy white. White as an act of purification. So Lakshmana does that type of purification. Bharata Bhakti, again melting with God. And Shatrughna does another stage of purification, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, he goes on removing impurities, anger, hate, etc. And Dhyana Yoga goes on removing impurities of a different level, subtle desires, vikshepa, impure vasanas. Therefore, mystically, they are given that type of complexion. Rama and Bharata, blue complexion. Lakshmana and Shatrughna, snowy white complexion. In reality, you will not find anyone like that. They're always mixed up. So therefore, it's all completely allegorical. कहा एक मैं आज निहारे, जनु विरंच निज हाथ संवारे, भरतु राम ही की अनुहारी, सहसा लखि न सकहि नर नारी. One of them started saying, today I have seen them, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna. They appear as if Brahma has fashioned them by his own hands. While creating this creation, Brahma has used so many secretaries and assistants and artists. But for fashioning Rama, he used his very hand and all his skill. Because Rama movement is leading you to moksha, liberation. Brahma's creation is meant for soul to evolve. That point is brought into that little statement. लखन शत्रु सूदनु एक रूपा, नख सिखते सब अंग अनूपा, मन भावहि मुख बरनि न जाहि, उपमा कहूँ त्रिभुवन को नाही. Lakshmana and Shatrugna, they are both snowy white. Nak se shikh tak, from toenail to the top of the head. All, the entire body is anupam, beyond compare, from toes to the head. And they are profoundly delightful to mind. And mouth doesn't have the capacity to speak out whatever mind experiences. Figure that out. For your mouth to speak, you have to have a control over language. And that's limited by how much you have studied literature. Otherwise, internally, feeling goes on. And someone asks, what do you feel? You don't know what to say. And whatever little words you use can't exactly convey those feelings. And upama kahun tribhuvan ko nahi. In all the three worlds, there is nothing comparable. You can say this Rama is like this, or Lakshmana is like that. And whenever we speak of three worlds, of course, people who study, they go into the Puranas, and the three worlds give you a very big idea of so many things. But three worlds simply mean your practical reality, the world what is called real, where your house is located, where you study the geography of the world, and all the news you hear on your TV or by your iPad. That's the Bhur world, Bhur. But while that goes on, you live also and experience another world, the world of your feelings. And while feelings go on, there is another world, the world of your understanding at intellect level. Each world is much greater than the previous one. Much greater, more expansion, more depth, more dimension is there in your feeling than all the realities of the world. And greater dimension is there more in your understanding. But the question of dimension dwindles into nothing when you move beyond God who transcends the three lokas. So Rama, Lakshmana, etc., they point to what is beyond the three lokas. So all things that can be described in the terms of three lokas, they cannot match up with God. Therefore, upama tahu tribhuvan ko nahi. उपमा न को कह दास तुलसी कतहु कवि को विद कहें बल विनय विद्याशील शोभा सिंधु इनसय एई रहें. Saint Tulsidas says, that poets and sages attempting to describe Rama, they do not find exact comparison in the three worlds. They are, again, using some upama, not the edible upama I'm talking about. Baal, strength, that matches with Shatrugna. That process that removes malas, it emanates from Shraddha-based energy. And there is no power compared to that. So that Shatrugna represents Baal, the Anupam Baal, not ordinary Baal. Bharata represents Vinay, absolute humility, complete self-effacement. Rama represents Vidya, Gyan in the highest level. Lakshmana represents Sheel. In the storyline, it doesn't seem like very gentle. But his very name, Lakshmana, means all good qualities are in him. He is the basis of Daivi Sampat, all divine virtues. So that is strength that has to courage to befriend Rama, to match up with Rama. As if you are guiding Rama. And then smilingly you are guided by Rama. Come to that rasa, the type of relation with God. Lakshmana had that type of relation. So that type of mind becomes the source of all divine virtues. So these are the beauteous expressions. Baal, Shatrugna is expressing it. Strength. Vinaya, absolute humility expressed by Bharata. Vidya, knowledge, absolute knowledge expressed by Rama. And absolute source of all virtues, the commander of all virtues, expressed by Lakshmana. Bala Vinaya Vidya Shil. And that's and each quality is of oceanic proportion, not ordinary. And they have no comparison. They are the only ones. Anupam. पुरनारी सकल पसारी अंचल विधि ही बचन सुना वहीं व्या ही आऊं चारियो भाई भाई यहीं पुर हम सुमंगल गावहीं. All the women of Janakpur spreading their anchal, their skirt. That's how they offer prayers. Village folk. Prayer is offered. Bhavana develops in your heart that God will give you something, and you have to have something. The best of your blanket. The best of your so that you can handle. So you spread your anchal and pray. And what they are praying? May all the four brothers have their marriage right there in Janakpur. Seems quite poetic, but the idea behind it, let there be integration in your personality. Your jnana, your head should go another way, and your heart shouldn't go another way. All the four, jnana, bhakti, dhyana, karma, they are like different limbs of your personality, and they should be all integrated. कहीं परस्पर नारी वारी विलोचन पुलक तन सखी सबु करब पुरारी पुण्य पयो निधि भूप दौ. And as they pray, tears flow from their eyes, and the body becomes thrilled. This effect of Shubha Bhavana on your nervous system. The tears that now flow out of profound, joyous feeling, they have kind of a cool effect. Tones your eyes, and lights up your face. And the tears appear like diamonds, like pearls. Enhance the beauty of your eyes. Your premashru, tears of divine love. And they are saying, talking, conversing within themselves, among themselves. that these two kings, King Janaka and King Dasharatha, they are like ocean of virtue, each one of them. Lord Shiva is bound to fulfill their wishes. And Lord Shiva is described as Tripurari. Literally it means the destroyer of 3 cities. And it follows a Puranic story. Simple point is, philosophically, Godward movement, if you really please God, then God will remove the state of bondage. The soul is bonded with three levels of your personality, which I have described. One is your practical world, another is your feeling world, another is your buddhi-based world. They are described like palace, 3 big cities in a storyline. And 3 demon brothers occupy these 3 cities. The topmost city is occupied by Tarakasur. Rather, it's called Tarakaksha. Aksha means eyes. Taraka relates to distant stars. The eyes that are moving towards transcendental dimension. But the description, names are given that are very profound, magnanimous, positive. But the real personality is negative. It's just like you are looking into a lake. And what you are seeing the lowest in the lake is a reflection of the highest. Shouldn't go into too much detail, but just to understand that point. Also it implies swollen-headedness. Without attaining that level, one develops the idea, I have attained that. I am Tarakaksha. Now look into my ordinary eyes. My eyes have tremendous dimensions. And his castle is described as a golden castle. Gold symbolizes profound enrichment, sattva. Therefore, all great deities are adorned with pitambar, yellow dress, golden dress. They all like gold, you see. The next one with feeling aspect loka, was ruled by the demon brother known as Vidyunmali. Vidyut means lightning. The feeling level gives the occasional flash. When the flash of good feeling comes, everything lights up. Damini dabak damak chip jai. Really shines but suddenly disappears. And third one is iron castle. The first one is golden, second one is silver, third one is iron. Iron is a karmic bondage. And the demon here is known as Kamalaksha. It's a contrary name. Kamalaksham, one who has lotus eyes. Positively is a positive name, which means eyes that are not contaminated by the negativity of the world. A vision that is clear like a lotus. Now Lord Shiva, with a Sarvadevamaya Rath, a chariot in which all gods came together, and Brahma himself drove the chariot. And in that setting he destroyed these three demons. Therefore Lord Shiva is known as Tripurari. That's the description of God without going through history. Simply means God is the destroyer of all your illusions, your ignorance-based identity, identified with the body, identified with your heart, with your sentimental heart, identified with your mental thoughts that give you some understanding. All these identities are destroyed when you attain God realization. Therefore, that God is the destroyer of these three puras and three demons. He is Tripurari. May that Tripurari grant all their wishes. They are referring to Janaka and King Dasharath. यही विधि सकल मनोरथ करही आनंद उमगी उमगी उर भरही. All people, men, women, all residents of Janakpur, they had the same type of expectation. Manorath. Desires are called. Mind is considered like a chariot. And a chariot that carries the best things. When mind becomes a chariot, holding profound treasure. I'm just giving you the idea of the Hindi word manorath. When your mind wishes something and someone gives you a blessing, let your manorath be fulfilled. Your chariot is being driven empty, let it become fulfilled. And all of them are holding that type of cherished wish that let these brothers marry here in the royalty with King Janaka, Sita and her sisters, and so that they will be coming again and again into Janaka. And all the kings who had also joined in this royal celebration, they all expect the same way. कहत राम जसु विशद विशाला निज निज भवन गए महिपाला. And all they talked about was Rama's glory. Vishad, Vishal. Vishad means Nirmal. Rama's glory described in the terms of absence of all negativity. And Vishal. Vishal, all that is positive beyond imagination. So that's all they had to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. That will happen if the Rama Rajya. There will be no news breaking. They will be all talking about Rama's eyes, his ears, his hands, his bows, his arrows. Nothing else to talk about. Try to figure out what I'm trying to say. Don't take it literally. गए बीती कुछ दिने ही भांति प्रमुदित पुरजन सकल बराती. Some days passed just like that in thrill. Every day people are just in ecstasy. They see Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna, they're all in a very joyous state. A picture of, that's the type of bhavana one has to develop. If you can make it a stay even for 2 or 3 seconds, it's a great attainment. मंगल मूल लगन दिनु आवा हिम ऋतु अगहनु मास सुहावा ग्रह तिथि नखत जो जोगु बरवारु लगन शोधि विधि किन्ह विचारु. And following the storyline, they were waiting for the exact date, time, which is astrologically described as the most auspicious. So the priest of the royalty was busy finding out exact time and locate time period for them to be married, to have the marriage ceremony. That goes on always. Even in the present age, same thing. Hindu families go through a tremendous calculation. Sometimes they get into big trouble. I will not go into that. But all that has subtle meanings. What type of himaritu agahanu masa suhava? The most auspicious time is described, Hemanta Ritu, when after rains, clouds have cleared. That means when your bhavana, feeling, has become free of impurities, Shukla Paksha has started, waxing moon, in the firmament of your heart. And Agahanu Masu. Agahana Mas, Hindi word Agahan means Sanskrit word Marga Shirsha. It occurs somewhere in November, December. And it's opening of northern course of the sun. Marg Shirsha means path. And Shirsha means the best path, the head of the path, Marg Shirsha. All planetary conditions, studies of stars, and all needed astrological details, they were all brought into a perfect calculation. Pathay din narada manaso sanasoi Rani Janak ke ganakana koi joi. No, let me. Grahati siddhakhatu jogu barabaru lagana shodhi bizi chinna bicharu. Now, while the astrologers under King Dasharatha and Janaka, they are busy, Brahma himself becomes involved. And for Brahma there was no difficulty. He immediately located exact time, moment. Patay din narada sanasoi, gani janaka ke ganakana joi. And he created a Lagna Patrika, a little note, gave to Narada, and to carry the message of Brahma to King Janaka. And Janaka found that this, whatever Brahma had calculated, his Jyotishis, his astrologers had also come to the same. So it's well authenticated. Now let me give you subtler meaning behind it. Spiritual sadhana doesn't depend upon your finding the exact astrological condition. There are people who are busy doing that. They have the idea I should meditate, but now I must ask my astrologer, what is the best time to meditate? He says, today it is 5 o'clock in the evening. Tomorrow it will be 6 o'clock in the morning. And you follow the details. Absolutely. That's a dull wit. Mandabuddhi. Try to imagine old times. Even shortest trip people they took, I'm talking about 100 years before, they will ask astrologers, is it favorable? And they will decide, no, today east is not favorable. Tomorrow you can go to east. So there was a whole rules described in the scriptures. Som Sanichar Puram na Chalu. Bangal Buddha Uttaradishikanu. Monday and Saturday, you shouldn't go to the east. On Tuesday and Wednesday, north is like your death. But in modern times, who cares? Your business demands to be there. So it is going to be rainy, stormy, no matter what. You face the challenge and you do it. In other words, for spiritual sadhana, do not get entangled into this. You are not conditioned by weather forecast. No matter whatever be the weather forecast, you have the ability to match up, to face the situation and take advantage of everything, whatever happens. In other words, you are not controlled by weather. You are the architect of your destiny. So don't go on looking for definition of destiny from others. Dhenu dhuri bela vimal sakal sumangal mool viprana kahe videhasan jani saguna anukul. But all the description here is not referring to the actual detail as I have described, Mangal Buddha type of. Is that type of mind, intellect, your whole mental set comes to that type of purity, that everything becomes auspicious. And following the allegorical description, a time on auspicious day, Godhuli Bela is a time of dusk. Probably it comes from dust. When cows returned from their forest, and they create a little dust. People viewed that dust as a very auspicious. Godhuli Bela, the whole time period is considered very auspicious. But what subtle meaning? Go is cows, Upanishads. When Upanishads begin to come in your consciousness, you begin to digest it. The cows are coming. And a little changes occur in your environment, in your understanding. That's Godhuli Bela. Your mind is sensitive to higher wisdom. Soon you will have pudding. Dhenu dhuri bela. Dhenu, cows, dhuri, dust. And that time period when cows are returning, called Godhuli Bela. And is considered very pure. The source of all mangal, all that is auspicious. And all auspicious indications began to manifest. And then Brahmin priests told King Janaka that this is the right time and we proceed for the marriage. And soon the marriage will be extended to all the four. And with this I conclude. Om Trayambakam Yamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukuma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति शांति। ओम श्री रामाय नमः।